get going. First of all, I'm going to have you start with a squat. I want you to have that single 25-pound weight at your chest. And I want you just to sit back in your hips, keeping the weight in your heels and standing up tall. You can do this just standing without anything behind you, or I prefer people to do it in front of a bench or a chair or couch, so you kind of have something to reach back for and tap. So I want you to inhale, keeping the weight in your heels on the way down. Exhale, standing up tall. When you tap back to that bench, I don't want you to actually sit down into it. I just want you to tap it. So you're keeping that weight and glute tension in your glutes the whole time. The other thing is, as you sit back, I want you to focus on not letting your knees fall in or out, keeping everything in a nice straight line. So that way those glutes have to work. You're keeping everything in alignment and you're not putting any stress in your knee. If you feel that knee kind of talking to you when you're doing a squat, most likely you're coming forward into your feet and into these knees. So you kind of see how my whole body's shifting forward. I want you to shift backwards. All right, go ahead and give me about 15 reps right there. Hit pause, and then come back, and we'll move on to your next exercise. All right, second exercise, we're still kind of focusing on knee stability here. So we're going to do a rear lunge. Do your first couple without a weight, just so you kind of can get your form down. But then again, I want you to hold that single weight at your chest as you do these rear lunges. So for a rear lunge, you're going to be standing up nice and tall, stepping back with one leg. And again, as you step back, you don't want to shift your weight back. You want to keep your weight over this front leg. The back leg is just extending out long. Again, notice it's not bent. Body is kind of leaning over the front leg, so we're really loading this front glute. And again, hip, knee, and foot all in a nice straight line. Exhale, press through your heel and stand up tall. So a nice long step back, even though we're not shifting our weight back. Keeping the weight in the front leg, standing up tall. And again, from the front, I want this to look like this. So again, hip, knee, and foot all in a nice straight line, kind of leaning into that front leg. So we're really loading this glute, making this knee and ankle have to work to stabilize, standing up tall and together. Give me 15 on each side for me. Hit pause, knock out those reps, and then we'll go on to your third exercise. All right, Lyle. Moving on to your next exercise, we're going to start working on those arms a little bit. I'm using these resistance bands to kind of mimic what I want you to do. I know you'll use that home gym system a little bit. And as I said in Jeannie's videos, I might have to modify things a little bit, so see how it works. Because I'm not 100% sure how you can move it around or set it up, but I think from what it looks like, this should work. So I want you to attach two of the bands, obviously down low, and attach a cable handle to it. If there's not room for two of them, just do one arm at a time. But I want you to start standing up tall, maybe a little bend in your knees, with your palms facing each other. So not turned out or up to the ceiling, but palms facing each other. And I want you to hinge forward just a hair. So you're kind of leaning into those bands a little bit. And I want you to pull straight back and down. Alternating sides for me. So again, you can do one arm at a time. So do all 15 on one arm, or you can alternate. But again, keep that core strong, your back flat, and your shoulders relax down your back. So what I don't want to see is this or this shrugged posture forward. Really open your chest, engage your core. Exhale, pull that shoulder blade down your back like you're going to slide it into your back pocket, and then stretch forward. All right, give me 15 on each arm, and then come back. We'll move on. All right, Lyle, for your next exercise, we're going to keep using these same bands, same handles, but we're going to do a little bit of hammer curl work with them. So I'm going to have you step a little bit closer and stand up tall. So we're not leaning into it at all anymore this time. Tall, tall posture. Palms are still facing each other. You're about to see my production assistant here. This is Maggie. All right, palms facing each other, tall posture, and again, one arm at a time. We're going to hammer curl up. So all we're doing is keeping our elbows glued at our sides. And again, that chest open, the shoulder blades down. Bringing that hand to your shoulder, slow with control, and right back down. Keep that going for me, 15 on each arm. Again, what I don't want you to do is kind of lifting up like this or pulling back. We're coming straight up, straight down, slow and controlled. 15, and then we'll move on. All right, for your next exercise, I want you to, I think you can totally detach those bands or cables from the base. So if you can, go ahead and have one so you're holding it in your arms just like this, so it's not attached to anything. And I want your hands just a hair wider than shoulder width apart. And those hands, I want them about shoulder height to maybe a little bit lower. Just make sure you're not higher and you're not like all the way down by your hips. So again, somewhere between shoulder and sternum height. And I just want you to exhale and pull that band apart as hard as you can and then come back together. So pull apart, and when you hit your maximum, kind of hold for a split second and then back together. Exhale, pull those shoulder blades down and together so you can kind of see as I'm pulling, I'm not shrugging up. I'm keeping my posture tall, my chest open, so I'm really working through these delts and these lats. Again, what I want to do is kind of help strengthen up that whole shoulder joint and complex so that you kind of get a little more stability. All right, 15 band pull aparts, and then we'll move on. All right, going back to your bands here. Let me reattach down low. Okay, so with your bands, with your cable, you can do this one of two ways. I noticed there was a long bar you could kind of connect to those bands. Ideally, I would prefer you to do that. So connect the two bands with the bar in the middle. So essentially it would look like this if instead of the handles there was a bar connecting the two. And I want you to kind of step back so the cables are long, your arms are long, but you're hinged forward, like almost like you're gonna ski. Holding that bar with both hands, I want you to pull it up to your chest and right back down. Pulling up and back, right back down. So again, as I'm rowing this bar up, I'm not shrugging up, I'm not dropping those elbows. We're just thinking about squeezing an orange between our shoulder blades and then right back down. Again, you can do it with the two cables with the handles just like I did, but I would prefer you do that bar because it kind of makes you stay in alignment. It keeps your centering proper. All right, 15, just like that, rowing up to your sternum, right back down, keeping that core strong, opening that chest. All right, we're gonna stay here, same setup. So same bar, same double system here. But this time I want you to stand up a little bit closer to the base and keep our posture tall. We're gonna move into an upright row. So again, either two handles or the bar, standing up tall. We're just gonna pull those hands up to our shoulders and right back down. So this time we're pulling straight up, almost like we're like a marionette puppet with strings attached to our elbows, just lifting us straight up, straight down. Notice as I row up, my hands aren't coming up. It's my shoulders. My hands are staying low. So again, we're rowing up, hands stay low. The hands don't come up. There's no rotation here. Tall posture, open that chest, pull those shoulder blades back and together. Inhale down, exhale up. Give me 15 right there. All right, Lyle. I want you to go to where you have steps in the house. I'm going to have you do some step-up work, again, to work on that knee stability. So standing at the base of your stairs, I'm going to kind of demonstrate on this chair here. So imagine I'm at the base of the stair. There's a stair right here, and then this is the second step. I want you to put your foot up on that second step. It won't actually be this high. But again, I don't want your foot on the first step, I want it on the second step. Hold on to the railings or the banisters if you need to. And I just want you to stand up nice and tall and tap right back down. Stand up tall and tap down. What I want you to focus on is as you stand up, really driving through this heel that's on the step and really trying to keep everything nice and aligned here. So don't try to momentum your way up and down, kind of bouncing up and down. Control it as you come up, and again, control it as you step back. All right, I'm going to have you do 15 on each leg. All right, Lyle, we're going to do a lateral lunge here for your next exercise. So again, grab that single 25-pound dumbbell that you have, keeping it at your chest, tall posture. I'm going to have you step out to your right and really sit back into that hip. So lean your weight, shift all that weight into your right leg, push that hip back, almost like you're trying to sit back in a chair and then stand up tall and together. So inhale, sit back into that hip, and again, notice my knee is not diving out, it's not diving in. Everything's in alignment. I'm just sitting back into that hip, coming up tall. So 15 per side. Let me give you a side view here. Sit back into that hip as your other leg stays straight, up together. I'll start it on the other side. Again, straight leg on your left, bending on your right, coming up tall. 15 right there on the right, and then give me 15 reps on the left. Go ahead and hit pause, knock those out, and then we'll move on. All right, wrist curls. For your next one, I'm using this weight, but I want you to use like a 3 or 5 pound weight, and we're just gonna do some wrist curls. So just holding that arm, preferably about shoulder height, I want you to just curl your wrist up and down for me. So again, I want you to be about shoulder height, holding a weight. You're gonna curl up, curl down, curl up, curl down. If that's too much tension in your shoulder, lower your arm down slightly and curl up and down, up and down. Then after you do 15 up and down, I want you to go 15 side to side. So again, holding a weight, 15 up, 15 down, 15 to the right, 15 to the left. And again, what I want you to do, what that is working on is strengthening up all these forearm muscles and all of our connections into our elbow. Again, the stronger we can get this, the less this is gonna have to work. All right, go ahead and hit pause. Even though you only have issues on your one throwing side, your one serving side, I want you to do it on both arms, just so we keep everything kind of even and neutral. We don't want one getting stronger than the other. All right, so go ahead and knock out those 15. It'll be 60 reps total for that exercise. Hit pause, and then we'll come back and we'll move on. All right. Keeping your lighter weights, again, like a set of 3 or 5s, we're going to do a set of arm circles, which I know seem kind of easy, but with a little weight, they are not. So arms are going to be straight out like you're making a T for me. Holding those weights, we're just going to do little controlled circles forward, and then you'll go little controlled circles backwards. So we get tall posture. We're just going to do little circles forward, and then you'll go 15 back. Notice I'm not just kind of like all willy-nilly moving those arms around. It's controlled. The muscles in the arms are engaged to keep everything moving like it's supposed to. All right, go ahead and give me 15 forwards, 15 backwards, hit pause, and then come back. All right, Lyle, I'm gonna have you go back to that single 25-pound weight, and we're gonna go back to some row work here. I want you to hinge forward. So again, almost like we're in that skiing position. Knees are bent, hips are back. So our chest is kind of angling down towards the floor. Holding the weight in your right arm, rest your left arm on your thigh so you've got some stability. Or you can use a bench or a chair, so you're like this. Either way, I want you to stabilize yourself so your back's neutral, so you're not arched down or super extended. Holding that single weight, we're gonna pull that elbow straight back, and then reach right back down. Rowing up, reaching down. As you row, make sure we're not shrugging up or kind of opening our chest up. Core stay nice and neutral. We're just pulling that elbow straight back, really drawing this shoulder blade down our back, and then stretching down. All right, 15 rows per side. Hit pause, and then we'll move on to your next set. All right, Lyle. Your next 3 things here are more stretch and range of motion things. So what I'm going to have you do is actually come down onto the floor for me. You're going to be on your hands and your knees, and I want you to bring your right hand behind your head. From here, you're going to bring that right elbow. I want you to tap it down to your left elbow, and then I want you to open up as far as you can, really opening that chest, pulling that elbow to the ceiling. So you're going to inhale and tap down, exhale and open up for me. So you're really just getting this torso rotation and really stretching open this shoulder and this whole this posterior complex. Give me 15 on each side. Again, in this 4-point rotation, tapping down, opening up. 15 on the right, 15 on the left, and then we'll move on. All right, Lyle. For your next stretch, it's called technically like a tricep stretch, but really it's to kind of open up this whole complex here. So bringing your right hand behind your left shoulder blade, your left hand to your right elbow, we're just gonna really stand up tall, pulling this upper arm towards our ear and drawing this elbow slightly back. What you don't want to do is arch your back, because then your back's getting all the stretch and it's not your tricep. So just hold here for about 4 or 5 good deep breaths. And then you'll switch sides. And again, just pulling straight back, tall posture. Again, just letting this whole kind of complex stretch open. Give me 4 or 5 good deep breaths, holding that stretch on each side, and then we'll move on to your last stretch. All right, for your last stretch here, you can do this standing. I'm just doing it kneeling so I fit in my camera frame a little bit better. What I want you to do is interlock your fingertips, and I want you to really stretch forward. So notice how my back's really curving forward. My shoulder blades are kind of rounding around my back, almost like somebody put their foot right here on my sternum, and they're pulling me forward with my hands. Really rounding forward, stretch, stretch, stretch. And then release those hands, come up tall, lift that chin to the ceiling, and reverse it. Kind of pull those hands down and back, pulling your shoulder blades down and together, and let that chest open and stretch. So I want you to inhale, reach forward for me, really rounding that spine, let those shoulder blades protract forward, and then drop it down, let those shoulder blades retract and open that chest tall. Give me 10 each direction, stretching forwards, stretching backwards, and that will be the last exercise. What I want you to do for me, Lyle, is repeat this all twice. So you'll run through it with me, and then you'll start all over from the beginning and run through it again. So you'll do 2 sets of everything, 12 to 15 reps if